What is up, everybody? It is Mars Sports. It's your boy Marshall. Today. The freak? What the fudge? No. There we go. Anyways, today.
2 years in a row that we beat these guys, but we won. This is 2 years in a row.
All right. Anyways, today it's that time of year again. Maybe we'll get a fire truck going past us again with Santa, like I've done on stream twice somehow. Twice in the last 4 years. Maybe we'll go 3 for 5. We'll see. I don't know. But today we're gonna do 2025 bowl projections. I guess going into 2026 though. Bowl game projections. As I did this last year, and I will say I got some correct. Like, let me just look at the ones from last year. So yeah. But like I like doing this every year. It's fun to predict all these. Yeah. Where is it? Yeah, but it's easier this year because I had all of them set up already. Because I can just take the document from last year, make a new copy, and just replace everything with this year's stuff. But well, here's mine from last year. It's last year's. So yeah. But this is my document from last year. Basically, I took all these teams and then in the bowl games, I'll tell you what I got correct. I know I got correct. I got the Texas Bowl correct. I got Texas at UNT playing each other correct, but they play in the First Responder Bowl, not this bowl. I got this bowl correct, Cal and ULV. Let's see. I guess I predicted Florida go Gasparilla correctly. It wasn't Pitt they played; it was Tulane. Yeah. Let's see. What else did I get? Let's see. Trying to remember what I got correct last year. I got Navy Armed Forces, but they played Oklahoma, not West Virginia. Let's see. I got this matchup correct, but they played. I believe it was the Fenway Bowl. I'm pretty sure. Yeah. Let's see. I got Pinstripe Bowl correct, matchup and the bowl. Yeah. I was very close on this one. Had Iowa State versus Clemson, but I didn't think Clemson make the playoffs at that point. Got Colorado State correct in this one, but they didn't play in IU. They played Miami, Ohio. I believe NC State was in the Military Bowl last year against Army, or it was not against Army. It was against Eastern Carolina. I got the Alma Bowl correct. I got, let's see. Yeah, that's all correct. I got my own matchup correct. So yeah. I got Texas at a 5 seed correct. I think, yeah, let's see. Yeah. I said SMU would be number 2 seed. I got Oregon number 1 seed correct. Arizona State number 4 seed correct. I got Penn State as a wait no, I didn't they were 7th last year. Sorry if I have a little bit of a lisp. My sound we're talking just probably my mouth hurts. So anyways, let's do this. So here's my 2025 version of the document. We'll just go through the matchups as they happen. But yeah, anyways, let's freaking if I can do this. So you got kind of a playoff prediction type thing too. Yeah, type thing you all right, so here's your bowl eligible teams. You got North Texas, Tulane, Navy, South Florida, Eastern Carolina, Army, Memphis, UTSA, Virginia, SMU, Miami, Pitt, Georgia Tech, Duke, Cal, Clemson, NC State, Louisville, Wake Forest, Texas Tech, BYU, Utah, Houston, Arizona, Arizona State, Iowa State, Kansas State, TCU, Cincinnati, Indiana, Ohio State, Oregon, USC, Michigan, Iowa, Washington, Illinois, Minnesota, Nebraska, Northwestern, Penn State, Alabama, Georgia, Ole Miss, Texas A&M, Texas, Oklahoma, Vanderbilt, Missouri, Tennessee, LSU, Boise State, New Mexico, San Diego State, UNLV, Fresno State, Hawaii, Utah State, Western Michigan, Ohio, Toledo, Miami, Ohio, Central Michigan, Jacksonville State, Kennesaw State, Western Kentucky, Louisiana Tech, Missouri State, FIU, Delaware, Washington State, JMU, Old Dominion, Coastal Carolina, Georgia Southern, Troy, Southern Miss, Louisiana, Arkansas State, Texas State, Notre Dame, and UConn. So yeah, here you go. Here is kind of my playoff predictions. Boom. Okay, we'll go down there in a second. So here's what. So I decided to wait until the seeding actually came out for the playoffs. Yeah, but basically this is what I think the seeding will be. If you go watch my video, if you didn't see it yet, my pick video just came out pretty recent. I think Indiana will get the number 1. God dang, not that way. We already see what the first one is. I got Indiana as number 1 seed. I think they will win the Big Ten championship. I go Ohio State at number 2 seed. Whoever wins the Big Ten championship will get the number 1 seed. Texas Tech at number 3. I think they'll win the Big 12 championship at BYU. Oregon at number 4. I have, and then number 5, I have Alabama hosting North Texas, who I think will be the number 12 seed because I think they'll win the American. I have Georgia hosting Virginia. This is Georgia number 16. 11 will be Virginia. I think Virginia will win the ACC. Although the American are ironically be better this year. Alabama, though, I think they will win the SEC championship over Georgia. And A&M over Notre Dame, which would be insane with that being a rematch. I have Ole Miss versus Oklahoma. This would also be a rematch as well. And then for the Orange Bowl, I think Notre Dame will get revenge at A&M. I think they'll beat Ohio State. In the Orange Bowl, Cotton Bowl, I think Oklahoma will win and will play Indiana. Just without Lane Kiffin, that's going to be interesting to see. Speaking of, you're welcome, world. Oh shoot! You can see my bare titties. Man. There we go. I gotta get a visor, bro, so I can rep with this, bro. Yeah, that's right. We got Lane Kiffin now. I'm so excited, bro. All of a sudden, I'm so excited. Why am I getting a text from the band? Letterman jackets. I already have one, so yeah. Yeah, and then I think Alabama will beat North Texas. They'll probably beat down if I had to guess. They'll probably be because yeah, we'll see. I'd love for North Texas to win, but yeah, I think they'll go on to play Oregon in the Rose Bowl. And I think Georgia will beat Virginia and probably blow out if anything. Yeah. And then I think Georgia will beat Texas Tech. Oregon will beat Alabama in a close game. I'm sure Texas Tech will be decently close as well. I think Indiana will beat Oklahoma, and then Ohio State will beat Notre Dame. So yeah, that would be insane, though. That would be I just realized that would be a national championship rematch from last year, which would be insane, bro. In the second round of the playoffs, yeah, that's a great thing about these playoffs, man. You get a lot of these storylines. But yeah. Anyways, I need to go take a poo-poo, so I'll be back. Probably mute. Mic check 1, 2, 3. Oh, pumpkin. Sorry, that was terrible. I'm sorry. All right, I'm gonna turn this off. Actually, the Duke and Florida playing. That'd be good. That'd be a good game. Speaking of Duke, I probably saw it already. Here's my ACC versus SEC quote unquote SEC matchup. The Duke versus Mayo. Duke versus Mayo. What the fuck am I saying? And the Duke's Mayo Bowl. Yes, I put Duke in the Duke's Mayo Bowl. I had been playing James Madison. This year's supposed to be an SEC team playing with them, but there are only 10 bowl eligible SEC teams and half of them in the playoffs. So it's gonna be hard to determine at that point. So you got to make some adjustments this year. So yeah, about Duke and JMU playing in the Duke's Mayo Bowl. I don't think Duke's win the ACC. I mean, if they do, that'd be insane. Even then, they'd probably get like a lower tier bowl game, or not like a New Year's Six bowl game. Well, Duke's Mayo's not a bad bowl game. To be honest, just usually around like the B minus D plus teams, I guess. But yeah, but the celebration's awesome. You get the bathe in Mayo. Yeah, instead of an SEC team, I decided to put JMU in there because I think they're going to put North Texas over James Madison in the playoffs. So yeah, Bob Chesney did an incredible job there. JMU as a whole has just been incredible since they joined the FBS in 2023 when Kirk Sinnott was still their coach. So yeah, but I think Duke and JMU will be in the Duke's Mayo Bowl. So yeah, that makes sense at this point. Yeah. But I just had to do some different stuff this year. Now I got first responder. So it's Big 12ers at large. Last year with Texas State and UNT. So yeah. I have Kansas State. Sorry. I have Kansas State and Toledo. Kansas State, they were an extremely weird team this year. They lost to the U.S. Army to start the season. Lost to Iowa State and nearly lost to SCS North Dakota. So yeah. But they recovered. They got bowl eligible. Still 6-6, not what they necessarily wanted. Yeah, but they're gonna. I ended up playing Toledo. Toledo. I mean, they beat Pitt in like 20 overtimes last year. They really won that game 3 times, but yeah. But I think Toledo. They've been a solid team this year, so I think they could play Kansas State and give them around for their money. So yeah, maybe even beat them honestly. Yeah. The Gator Bowl. I have Tennessee versus Georgia Tech. Tennessee. They're 8-4 this year. They're on A&M status this year, or typical A&M status, should I say. Yeah, but Tennessee, I mean, they're okay this year. They didn't really beat any good teams, though, like Tennessee's schedule. They're still a good team, don't get me wrong. Yeah, they didn't really beat any great teams this year, from what I can tell. But yeah, let's see. Let's see. Sorry, my tongue's killing me, bro. Yeah, let's see who's the best team they beat. Yeah, they didn't really beat any great teams this year. I will admit the best team they beat was probably I don't even know who the best team they beat was. Because they lost to Vanderbilt, Oklahoma, Bama, and Georgia. The best team honestly, the best team they probably beat this year was Mississippi State. Ironically, Mississippi State was not that good of a team this year. They're better than they were last year, but still. If they're taking Georgia under the Tech, they've kind of fell off to end the season, but they've been really good this season for the most part. They lost their last 2 games to they probably should have lost their last 3 if they didn't. If they didn't, well, they almost lost to Boston College. They lost to who did it lose to? It was NC State, I believe. A very inconsistent NC State team. Also lost to Pitt and to Georgia. Sorry, my mouth is just killing me tonight. Yeah. I'll be back. Let me get some. I'll get some water so maybe it'll cool it off. All right. Yeah, I think that'd be a good bowl game. I think both those teams are in very similar spots. Yeah, I think that'd be an interesting game. But yeah, I think that will be the Gator Bowl this year. Yeah, 8-14 versus a 9-3 team seems about accurate, we'll say. Yeah. Sorry. Alma Bowl. I got a Pac-12 classic for y'all guys in this one. It's part of the Pac-12 still stands, which that's fine with me, honestly. Makes it easier on me to predict the games. But the next year I know how that's gonna work. We're gonna put Fresno State in the Alma Bowl. Yeah. I have USC and Utah. Both teams are very good. Both teams are borderline playoffs. They're probably not making it though, which I think is pretty accurate for those teams. USC, they've been great this season. They finally got going. Had a better season than last year. They lost their 3 games lost were Illinois. I know they lost to Oregon, and then they also lost to someone else. Notre Dame was the other one they lost to. Yeah, but USC though, I think playing Utah's been great this year too. The bounce back year for them as well. I think that'd be a great matchup. That'd be a classic Pac-12 matchup. Yeah, that'd be awesome to see. Yeah. Anyways, moving on. Military Bowl. I have Wake Forest and Army. Wake Forest, ironically, I think. Yeah, Wake Forest. They've actually been a much better team than they were last year. Last year they kind of sucked up a little bit. Like they were 4-8. They actually flipped their record around. They're 8-4 this year. So definitely lots of improvement for them this year. They've been good. I mean, they beat SMU and then their conference winning streak, or their regular season conference winning streak. But yeah, Wake Forest, they've definitely been a better team this year. I think a lot of stuff's been improved there. So they definitely look more competitive this year unless they're playing Florida State. But yeah. I think they'll play Army. Army's an extremely weird team this year. They'll lose an FCS team 1 week, then they'll beat Kansas State the next week. But yeah, I think they'll play Wake Forest in Military Bowl. Not Arizona, the Arizona Bowl, or the Snoop Dogg Bowl. What a name for a bowl game. Now, Fresno State and Ohio. Both these teams are in similar spots in their conference. I believe they're both 8-4. Yes, they are both 8-4. Fresno State had a better season this year. They were 6-7 last year, or 6. I think they're 6-7. Haha, yeah, very funny. Yeah, they played Ohio. Ohio has actually been a pretty good team this year. I remember when they beat West Virginia and really beat Rutgers. So yeah, so definitely some good stuff going for them this year. I know it wasn't as good as last year, but still, you have more Power 4 wins than last year, from what I can tell. Fresno State, though, by the way, yeah, lots of improvement this year. Of course, they blew up Boise State. Yeah, they can be inconsistent, but yeah. Moving on, the Pop-Tarts Bowl, my favorite non-New Year's Six bowl game. BYU Miami. There's also usually one with playoff hopefuls that go all the way. BYU, I think they will lose to Texas Tech in the conference championship. I think they'll be put in the Pop-Tarts Bowl with Miami. Miami actually went to the Pop-Tarts Bowl last year, and they almost won. They almost won if their offense wasn't, or if their defense wasn't so bad last year. But Miami, they've been a great team this year. Just 2 losses to 2 good teams like Louisville and SMU. Kind of fell down the stretch a little bit. 2 8-4 teams, I believe. Yes, 2 8-4 teams. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, they both went 8-4. No way. Yeah, Miami though, they've been good team this year. I thought they were gonna win the ACC at one point, but no. But it's still a good season nonetheless. Though they're in very similar spot to last year, except they actually have a defense this time. Yeah, there's that much better defense than last year. Yeah. Anyways, moving on. New Mexico Bowl, San Diego State versus Louisiana Tech. This was kind of a weird one. San Diego State's been great this year. They're 9-3, and they They are definitely better than last year. I think they're 3-9 last year, so they flipped the script from 3-9 to 9-3. So definitely lots of improvement this season. Sanders Tech and then playing Louisiana Tech, who also showed improvement this year. They also mirrored the record. They're 5-7 last year. I guess 5-8 when they lost the bowl game, but they're 7-5 this year. I guess they're mirroring the regular season record, but Louisiana Tech though they've been a much better team this year. I remember they gave LSU a decent game. They're going to LSU didn't have a defense this year, or didn't have an offense this year, but still. That's something. Louisiana Tech's actually been a decent team this year. And definitely some improvement from there. Yeah. Sorry, I accidentally unplugged my charge. Yeah. It's the Pinstripe Bowl. Out of Louisville, Minnesota. Louisville had lots of momentum going there, and they kind of fell down the stretch, but then they shut out Kentucky, which got Mark Stoops fired. So what do I know? But Louisville, they had that win against Miami, which put them on the map, and then they Louisville it from there. By that, they lost a bunch of games that they shouldn't have. Yeah, they're a good team this year, though. They shut out. The fact they shut out Kentucky is insane, 41-0. That shows you how bad Kentucky is. But they lost to SMU, got blown out by SMU. Lost to Cal in overtime. Ironically, they beat SMU as well. And they also lost to Clemson. It's probably a revenge game for Clemson at that point. But yeah, I should probably not be showing that on screen because I don't want the copyrighted. Yeah, I hate copyrights. I should turn the TV off right now. Turn the CV off. Turn the CV off. Okay. Yeah, but Louisville, Minnesota. Yeah, Minnesota, they've been good. They've been decent this year. They're 7-5 like they always are. Although when they're facing good opponents, they get blown out. Yeah. But by the way, this is both these teams are both sons to Cal's their daddy to both these teams, believe it or not. But yeah. Minnesota, of course, lost to Cal earlier this season, but they've been good. Whenever they play a good team, though, they get blown out. Like at Iowa, they got blown out. Ohio State, they got blown out. Maybe Nebraska, I guess. But yeah, but they've been decent, like they usually are. Yeah, but yeah, they get blown out. They beat Michigan State overtime. I didn't realize that. Yeah. I forgot about the game where they scored 59 on Northwestern State in the first half. How Northwestern State did this year, by the way? They were 1979. What the freak? Why should we just set 1979 standings, bro? Don't know why they're doing that, but yeah. Show me the 1979 standings for football. Let's see. Well, they beat Alcorn State. And then the last Prairie beat by 3 points. And let's see. Yeah, not much better. Damn, 62-14. It's a blowout. To Stephen F. Austin University. Shout out to Miss Warden, by the way, my second grade teacher. She went there. Yeah. Yeah, I think Minnesota will play Louisville. Minnesota, I think this makes sense that these two teams play each other. Yeah. Anyways, moving on. Or Pinstripe Bowl, a.k.a. the Hebron Bowl. If you know, you know. If you're a band kid, you know what I'm talking about. Now I got the Fenway Bowl. Clemson, Eastern Carolina. Clemson, definitely a disappointment this year. 7-5 is not the standard there. They were projected to be national champion by some teams, and then they did not execute very well. They weren't terrible. They weren't bad, but like they're a decent team. But that's not the standard for Clemson. Like looking back at that Clemson LSU game, none of those teams preseason hype aged well. Yeah, but Clemson, I think they'll play Eastern Carolina. I think that makes sense for them. They're 7-5. I mean, what else do they have to fight for, bro? At this point, yeah. Eastern Carolina, on the other hand, they been good this year. They beat. I think they beat. Who they beat? I think they beat Memphis, and they lost CTSA by a lot. Yeah, there's that. think that could be a good game. Yeah. Now I get the Holiday Bowl. Washington versus Pitt. Both these teams, they're pretty good this year. Washington and Pitt were both 8-4. Holiday Bowl makes sense to where they would play at. But yeah, Washington, they've been good. Definitely improvement from last year. Granted, they were rebuilding last year, but still. Washington, the only bad thing this year to come out this season, their winning streak at home came to an end. But hey, they should better than they were last year. And they were 8-4, I believe. Yeah, they were 8-4, 5-4 in conference play. They had wins like against like Illinois. Who else did they beat? They also lost to Wisconsin, so yeah. But they're definitely a better team this year. And there's that. They're taking on Pitt. They're a pretty good team. I mean, they're in the ACC fight this year, but they had a lot of out-of-conference losses, like everyone else in the ACC. Like they lost. Who did Pitt lose to start the season in the ACC? I know they lost to Notre Dame in West Virginia somehow. Notre Dame's understandable, but West Virginia, although Pat Narduzzi didn't really care about that game apparently. But their coach, by the way. And then what is it? West Virginia was random though. Granted, Rich Rodriguez was looking for revenge, but still. Yeah. That was Louisville they lost too. Close game though. Yeah, there's that. But yeah, I think that'd be a good bowl game. That's on Fox, I believe. And the most of these games are on ESPN. I could tell you that the Arizona Bowl is on the CW. Their Snoop Dogg Bowl. You know what? For next year, although I need to copy all the documents. This is actually my school account. Because I can work. Because the only reason I'm using the school account because I can work on it at school. I can't access my personal account from on my school laptop, and with the phone ban, it's kind of hard to. Yeah. But yeah, I'm gonna have to copy a lot of documents, transfer a lot of documents to my personal email. Yeah. Now I got Las Vegas, which has changed this year to a Pac-12 versus Big Ten game. By the way, that it was used to be Pac-12 and SEC. So yeah, this is this year because how many SEC bowl games? How many bowl eligible teams are in the SEC but not in the playoffs? 5 of them. I have Arizona, Illinois in this game. This is not going in much of an order. It's going in order I put them last year. Yeah. So I just copied the document, just put it this year. Las Vegas, I have Arizona versus Illinois. Arizona, they've actually had a huge bounce back season. They're 9-3 this year. They're a great team, man. Tell you what, they were really good this year. Arizona definitely, after last year, definitely made a comeback, although it's kind of weird. Without McMillan, they actually do better. McMillan was one of the best players I've ever had. Yeah, but they're a great team in this year. This year, how are they ranked above Houston? I don't know. Yeah, they're a great team this year. Houston, their only loss over to Houston, who's actually a good team this year. Who else did they lose to? Iowa State. Yeah, that's before Iowa State fell off, though. They also lost to who's the other team lost to? It was BYU in overtime. Okay, fair enough. They're a good team this year, man. I'll tell you what. Arizona can be inconsistent. One year they'll be really good. Next year, be really bad. They definitely bounced back for them this year. Beat Arizona State. They actually beat Arizona State in the Territorial Cup. So yeah, they're taking on Illinois. Illinois. I'd argue they're kind of disappointed this year. They're ranked number 9 to start the year, I believe. Actually, where were they ranked in 8 people? Let's see. Where the frick is it? Oh, okay. Where were they ranked in the AP poll at the start of the year? Well, it's not number 9. LSU was ranked number 9. I'm thinking of the CFP. I'm thinking of the. I'm thinking of the. I'm pretty sure I'm thinking of the college football ranking, college football 25 ranking. They're ranked number 12 to start year. Well, they had a good season still. People had Illinois in the playoffs, but they lost. They got blown out by. They got blown out, destroyed by Indiana at home or on the road. Yeah, that was on the road. They also lost to Ohio State, lost to Washington, lost to Wisconsin. So yes, they lost to Wisconsin. Wisconsin got better in the season, but still. But still. Wisconsin went like 4-8, I'm pretty sure. Wisconsin? Yeah, they went 4-8. But Illinois, though, I think they still had a pretty good season. And we'll admit, I mean, it's better Illinois has been in the past. Like, what was Illinois' record 2023? Yeah. I see a lot of L's on here. Frick is texting me, bro. Yeah. Let's see. Oh, it's not texting. That's Discord being Discord. Yeah, I mean, no, that's the wrong season. They're 5-7. So yeah. I mean, they've been pretty good in the past. But yeah, they've had some seasons. But Illinois, though, still a pretty good season. They beat USC. That's probably the biggest one they had this year. Yeah, there's that. Yeah, but I think the Arizona and Illinois put in the Las Vegas. But that'd be a good game. Now we got Iowa State and Tulane. This is usually the SEC team plays in the Liberty Bowl, but with so many eligible teams, not for the SEC. I figured I picked a former SEC team for this, and also Memphis played the Liberty Bowl. Yes, it was literally a home game for them. Yeah, Iowa State versus Tulane. Iowa State, they were still pretty good this year. Not as good as they were last year, but like they were still pretty good. Like, what was their record? They were 8-4 this year. Uh, yeah, they had a 3-game losing streak, which came against Cincinnati, Colorado somehow, and BYU. And Arizona State actually has a 4-game losing streak. Yeah, to Arizona State. And then they finished the season out by beating TCU, Kansas, and Iowa State. So yeah, but they were good up till there. I'm just saying, yeah. 8-4 is still a pretty good season for them. It's not as like historic as last year, obviously, but they're still pretty good this year. Until they lost Jalen Noel, Jaden Higgins. Ironically, both to the Houston Texans. They definitely did better. They definitely did pretty good this year still. And I gotta give them a lot of credit still. Yeah, there's that. And then Tulane, on the other hand, Tulane, they've been a great team this year. They have not one but 2 Power 4 wins. And they could honestly win that game too. But Tulane's usually one of the best group of 5 teams. Yes, John Summerall's leaving. I assume they'll find someone good to replace him. But yeah, there's that. But Tulane, I think Tulane will be a great team to play against Iowa State because Tulane beat Northwestern, dude. So yeah, they beat one of the best teams in the ACC, ironically. But yeah, and Northwestern was actually they weren't bad. They weren't a bad team this year. We'll admit they weren't great, but they were decent at points. Yeah. But I think Tulane will play Iowa State in that game. It's just they got to find someone to replace the SEC team. Yeah, I think that's one of those they can take the SEC team out. Yeah. It's just when you have South Carolina, Kentucky, Mississippi State, Arkansas, Florida, and Auburn all miss the bowl game. Doesn't exactly look great on y'all. On them, yeah. Because remember last year it was like 13 bowl eligible teams for the SEC. Only 3 of them make the playoffs. Yeah. Right, moving on. Yeah, there's 9. By the way, we only have one more bowl eligible team compared to the Sun Belt, which is insane. Sun Belt's 9 bowl eligible teams this year. This is actually a pretty good year for the Sun Belt. Yeah, there's that. Iowa State versus yeah, all right. Moving on, Armed Forces Bowl at Cincinnati Navy. Cincinnati was good, then they kind of fell down the stretch a little bit. Like they had that loss to Nebraska to start the year, and then they got rolling ever since then. Um, the win that really put them on the map was Iowa State. And they were one of the best teams in the Big 12. They lost your last 4 games to probably in the month of November. They just died as they got blown up by Utah, lost to Arizona, BYU, and TCU in the season. So definitely fell down the stretch, but still a decent year for Cincinnati considering last year they mirrored the record from last year, which is 5-7. Cincinnati's do it. Although I will say Cincinnati usually falls off at the end of the season like they did last year, except it wasn't as bad this year because there's some momentum this year. But yeah. I haven't played Navy. Navy's usually in this bowl game anyway. It seems like. Um, I think they've had a great year. I'm surprised they weren't ranked that all, but Navy they've been great. They've been really good again this year. They only have 2 losses, which are to Notre Dame and North Texas. Two teams that probably make the playoffs. But yeah, but unless BYU wins the Big 12 championship and then Tulane wins the American. But yeah, but I think Cincinnati Navy would be a good game. And I think ironically Cincinnati would be going back to the exact same place where they lost last game, because that game's at TCU Stadium. But yeah, there's that. Like I could tell you, actually, I'll do. Let's see here. Let me look at the doc on my other end. I say that the games that take place here are the teams that actually host these games, like the bowl games that actually what is it? Like that's played at a different college team stadium. The Orange Bowl's played at Miami. Guess you could say the Peaches played at the temporary site of Georgia Tech. The Rose Bowl's played at UCLA Stadium. And then where's the Bahamas? Hold up. Never mind. The First Responder Bowl, I believe that's at SMU. Yeah, it's at SMU. Yeah. Yeah, it's at SMU Stadium. The Gator Bowl, no, it's at Jacksonville Jaguars. Alma Bowl is at UTSA. Where's the Military Bowl played at? It's at Navy. Um, uh, Arizona Bowl is played at Arizona Stadium. Uh, Mexico Bowl, I believe that New Mexico Stadium. Yeah, the Lobo Stadium. Well, it's not called Lobo Stadium. Yeah, the Lobos play there. Where's Pinstripe play at? I'm pretty sure that's at a baseball stadium. I think it's at Yankee Stadium. Yeah, that's actually a cool place to play that. The Holiday Bowl's at a baseball stadium too, right? I know that the Fenway Bowl is at Fenway Park. Holiday Bowl, I believe that's at San Diego's. That's at Snapdragon. Oh, Petco Park. Oh, I guess Snapdragon hosts. That's where SDSU plays at. Uh, The Vegas Bulls play at UNLV. Liberty Bulls play at Memphis Stadium. Armed Forces Bulls play at TCU Stadium. Birmingham is that by UAB Stadium? Does protect? Yep, that's at UAB Stadium. Where's 68 Ventures put at? What a random name for a bowl game. That is at out South Alabama Stadium, so it's 13. The rates at the Diamondbacks. See, Game Bubs at Detroit, Hawaii Bowls at Hawaii, Idaho Potatoes at Boise State, Myrtle Beach Bowls at Coastal Carolina, Gasparillas at USF. Where's isn't the Cure Bowl played at? Isn't the Cure Bowl played at? 1 second. I usually watch in 1 second. The Cure Bowl, yeah, it's a Camera Bowl. So just math. New Orleans, that's at Superdome. LA is at SoFi. Where's Boca Raton played at? Boca. FAU, so that's 18. Frisco Bowl's at the FC Dallas Stadium. Where's the Camilla Bowl? I think that's their new name this year. I think. Oh, sorry. There you go. Where's the Camellia? Yeah. Yes. I use, bro. Stop calling me. Bro, this kid calls so many times. It's so annoying, bro. Who puts at Crampton? I don't think anyone plays there. Texas Bowl, that's the Texans. Citrus Bowls at Camping World. A lot of people can play Camping World. Citrus, Cure, and Pop Tarts. Some bowls at UTEP. ReliQuest is at South Florida, but that's I guess that's 20. Music Studies at Tennessee Titans. Where's the Independence Bowl at? Oh, okay. Let's see. Oh my god. Let's see. All right. Ayush, if you call me one more time, I'm leaking. I'm just kidding. I'm leaving, bro. I'm kidding, bro. I'm kidding. Waters. What the? This kid's texting me those random names, bro. I swear to God. We all love Ayush, though. We all love Ayush. Everyone type in the chat, I love Ayush. Let's see. All right. Moving up to the Birmingham Bowl. I have SMU in South Florida. It's either American, ACC, or SEC. And that makes room for the put. Oh, great. That means that there's probably a group of 5 team playing. I know you love yourself, Ayush. So yeah, but SMU, they definitely took a step back last year. They're still pretty good. I mean, they almost had the ACC championship. They lose to California of all teams. But yeah, they've been good this year, and I think they'll take on an old American Conference foe with them. I think South Florida will play them. South Florida's been great this year. So, they're so good. Their coach is gone. Yeah, but by the way, North Texas hired Neil Brown. That's actually a good hire, I will say. I mean, I know it didn't go well for West Virginia, but I think a group of 5 team would work out better for him. Yeah. But South Florida, they've been good. They've been really good this year. They put themselves on the map when they beat Florida, which was insane. Yeah, Florida wasn't that good of a team this year, but still. Put a pop out chat. No, actually. But South Florida, they're a good team this year. And I think playing SMU, that's like an old American Conference type thing, if you know what I mean. But yeah, I guess that point is called the AAC. But yeah. Anyways, moving on to 68 Ventures Bowl. Yes, that's the name of the bowl game. Missouri State and Arkansas State. Missouri State's not postseason eligible. Them and Delaware actually got bowl invitations because they needed 2 more teams. So they Texas AMAR. My private VIP chat with Ayush. You want to see where they are? Y'all are playing Notre Dame again, and y'all are gonna go down to them probably at that point. Well, I don't know. Actually, yeah, that'd be a close game. We'll see. Y'all gonna go down, bro. It could honestly though. Notre Dame probably looking for revenge, but y'all could definitely, if y'all could beat them once, y'all could beat them twice. Just saying. Who knows? Missouri State, who knows? Notre Dame might not even make the playoffs in the first place. If BYU wins the Big 10 or Big 12, sorry. Anyways, Missouri State though. For their first shout out to Missouri State, man. Their first year in the FBS, they went 7-5, which considering like for other teams, that's insane how good they did, bro. Like I know not JMU good from two years ago. I actually forgot what JMU's record was back in 2022, 23. Sorry. Let's see. No, not 2025. JMU for their first in the FC, yeah. But Missouri State's they're pretty good this year. They actually gave SMU for their money to start, and then SMU pulled away at the end. But yeah. I think they'll take an Arkansas State who they got better as the season went along. Like they had some bad, they kind of slow start points, but then they got better as season went. Like they almost beat Iowa State, so I give them credit for that. Yeah, but I think Arkansas State will play Missouri State. They're both 2 okay teams this year. Yeah, there's that. It was moving on. Now we got the Rate Bowl. Yes, it's called the Rate Bowl. Sponsored by Guarantee Rate. This is the one that's at this is the one that's at the Diamondbacks Stadium. Yeah, but I have TCU, Nebraska playing. We have a newer Big 12 team versus an old Big 12 team. Well, TCU's been in the Big 12 for over a decade now, to be fair. They joined at the same time Nebraska left. So I think that's why this would be an interesting matchup. TCU was pretty good this year. I mean, they went 8-4 like they went last year. So like it's like 2022, 2023, 2024, 2025, I guess. I don't know. But they're pretty good this year. They jumped in the rankings for the first time in a while. And then they lost to Arizona State. I think it was Arizona State, Iowa State, BYU, and who's the other team they lost to? Not 2023, 2025. course, I remember when they beat up Bill Belichick's team. Or Jordan Hudson's team, sorry. And they lost to Kansas State too. They lost to Arizona State, Kansas State, uh, BYU, and Iowa State. Yeah. They have been they were inconsistent at points, but they beat some good teams. Like they beat Houston and knocked them out of the rankings. They also beat Cincinnati. Granted, Cincinnati fell off in the year, but still, I think they've been a pretty good team this year. I mean, is it back to where it used to be? No. Or was it 2024 or 2020? No, sorry, 2022. No, but I mean, it's still a pretty good season for them. Uh, but yeah, but 8-4. I mean, ironically, they might be the new A&M, but at this point, they're going to keep going 8-4 every year. Yeah, there's that. But TCU though, I mean, they're the closest Power 4 team in my house. The closest team in my house is North Texas, but the closest Power 4 is TCU and SMU. Although TCU is actually closer. I actually saw their stadium 2 weeks ago, a week and a half ago. It's a nice stadium. It's a nice stadium. It's all from far view. It's a big stadium too. Yeah. Anyways, I think they'll play Nebraska. Nebraska, I will say, injuries. Dylan Raiola's injury definitely hurt them in the year, but they've gotten better and better each year under Matt Rule. They still have the one scores for some reason. Like, well, granted they got blown out against Iowa, but they lost to Iowa. That's got blown out at Penn State. They also lost to USC by one score. They beat Northwest UCLA by one score and Maryland by one score. They also lost to Michigan by one score. They beat Cincinnati by one score. They're the one score heroes, or whether it's good or bad for them. Yeah. They also got crushed by Minnesota of all teams, but yeah. But they've been inconsistent. They've been good this year. Like, I know Raiola's injury hurt this year, but or Mahomes 2.0, but I think Nebraska's still a pretty good team this year. Yeah, I think they'll. And who knows? Maybe next year they'll be even better. But yeah, yeah. But Nebraska, the second year in a row they're bowl eligible. Matt Rule's for sure at least like saved that organization from like being a terrible team. But yeah. I think Nebraska will be playing TCU. Yeah. Shout out to Riley Van Papa, by the way. Oh yeah. So next one. For the Gamer Bowl Sports Bowl, I have Northwestern, Western Michigan, two Western teams. Northwestern, they actually had a bounce back season this year. I mean, they weren't great, but like they were 6-6. Finally, they actually got bowl eligible again. But anyways, Northwestern, Western Michigan. Sorry, Northwestern. Yeah, I remember then they basically ended James Franklin's career at Penn State. But yeah, I think they'll play the MAC. Well, who I think is win the MAC championship, Western Michigan. They've been good this year, man. Like, that's a start, and then they got going. They actually were almost beat North Texas, and they actually had the game until I choked it away. But yeah, West Michigan's a pretty good team this year. I mean, I know the MAC's not very good this year, but I think they're the best team out of that conference this year. So I think they could give Northwestern run for their money. But yeah, and we saw Toledo beat Pitt in that game last year. So yeah, now I got Hawaii Bowl, and this one might be a little bit. This one might be a little bit high. Weird for Hawaii Bowl. I think I have UNLV and Jacksonville State going. I think both these teams will be runner-ups of their respective conferences. UNLV, they got an outside shot at the playoffs. Like, they'd have to have JMU lose, and Duke win in the playoffs at that point. Yeah, and they have to beat Boise State, obviously. Yeah. Oh God. UNLV, they've been good this year. Dan Mullen's for sure like kept them relevant or kept them good. So, yeah. But they've been pretty good this year. They maintain a momentum from last year, so I think they'll be competitive. I think they could be competitive in the championship, the Mountain West Championship. But yeah, there's that. I think they'll take on Jacksonville State, who I think will be the runner-up at this USA. They're pretty good this year. They had a slow start. Although they almost beat UCF to start the season. Yeah, even with losing Rich Rod to West Virginia, they still have pretty not Jacksonville State. They still been pretty good this year. I mean, they beat Kennesaw State, although I think Kennesaw's gonna get their revenge. Yeah, they barely beat some good, like sometimes like they had a very slow start. Like they had slow start at points. Like they had some weird moments. They beat they almost beat UCF on the road, and they beat Liberty. Granted, Liberty was not very good this year. But yeah, they beat Murray State. Murray State, it's this. I mean, it feels baseball to be different, but yeah. They also Georgia Southern, but then they got going. Or then they also lost to Southern Miss. Yeah, they lost a lot of out of conference games. Kind of like Duke, ironically. But they've only lost one CUSA game, which was to who was it to? FIU. Yeah. FIU's pretty good this year. So yeah, but yeah, I think they'll play UNLV in the bowl game. You get a trip to Hawaii. Yeah, there's that. I think that'd be a good game. Idaho Potato. That'd be like who can score the most at that point. Idaho Potato Bowl. We got UNLV. Not UNLV. We got Utah State against Michigan. Utah State's been pretty good. Has been okay this year. I mean, 6-6. They gave Texas A&M run for their money. There's that, and then they're taking on So I think they'll take on Central Michigan. They've been pretty good this year too. I mean, I'm pretty sure they are 7-5, like most of the MAC teams are. Yeah, they're 7-5. Yeah, but there's that. Oh Lord. Yeah, but they've been good. Both these teams have been okay this year. I mean, Michigan, of course, beat San Jose State at the start of the year. Yeah, San Jose State was not that good of a team this year, to be fair. Yeah, but I think that'd be a good game. Idaho Potato Bowl. Yeah. Also seems like a good neutral location too. This is at Boise State. Yeah. Now I got the Myrtile Beach Bowl. I think Georgia Southern will take on UTSA. Both these teams are 6-6. Georgia Southern, I mean, they're not as good as they've been. I mean, they beat Jacksonville State. I'll give them that, but like they've been mid this year at best. But I mean, it's not the worst. But yeah, Georgia Southern though they step back from last year. They weren't bad this year, but yeah, I think they'll get Myrtle Beach Bowl. I think that makes the most sense for them at this point. Yeah. And then I think they'll play UTSA. UTSA was wildly inconsistent this year. Like they beat up Tulane ECU, and then they lost to, I don't know who the heck they lost to. They lost to A&M. They actually gave A&M a decent run for their money though. Compared to A&M's defense wasn't very good to start the season, but yeah. Let's see. I mean, yeah. They lost to let's see who they lose. They beat let's see who they beat. Actually, they lost to let's see. They beat no, they lost okay. They beat Incarnate Word, which they're FCS, Colorado State by 1 point. They also beat Tulane by 22 points. And they also beat Charlotte, Eastern Carolina. They beat the crap out of them too. And then they lost to A&M, Texas State, Temple. Granted, Temple's actually a little better. They weren't great, but they're better this year. Oh, they also beat Rice. Sorry, UTSA beat Rice. Yeah. They also saw Florida and Army. So yeah, they've been really inconsistent this year. Yeah, they also beat North Texas. They also lost to North Texas. I'm pretty sure I said that though. I don't know. But yeah, but they've been inconsistent this year. But I think they'll end up in the Myrtle Beach Bowl. Georgia Southern, yeah. And the Gasparilla, I think NC State Memphis will play. Last year, Florida and Tulane played, but I think this should be NC State Memphis. NC State, they're inconsistent too. They've been decent this year, but they're inconsistent. Who they beat? Okay, they beat East Carolina. They beat Virginia, Wake Forest, Georgia Tech, Florida State, and North Carolina. But they also lost to that's also Duke, Virginia Tech, Pitt, Miami, and someone else. They also beat Campbell, by the way, and they also lost to Notre Dame. They've been inconsistent though. Like they could beat good teams, they could also lose the bad teams though. But yeah, they're playing Memphis. Which Memphis, they were the first team to get a bowl game this year, or become bowl eligible. But then they lost. They lost UAB. I think it was UAB, South Florida, East Carolina, and Navy. They lost to. It's a pretty good season for them. I mean, Memphis is usually a good team anyway. They did kind of fall down the stretch a little bit. Yeah, they beat South Florida. Yeah, they lost to UAB, Tulane. I'm sorry if I said South Florida, Eastern Carolina, and Navy. Yeah, there's that. But they've been a good team this year. And what's his name? Who's the coach's name? Is it? No, it's not him. It's Scott Satterfield. Wow. He's a Cincinnati coach. New Arkansas football coach, which is not Ox Scholars. Brian Sutherfield, he got hired at Arkansas. So, yeah, there's that. Yeah. Now for the Cure Bowl, I have Coastal Carolina and Delaware. Coastal Carolina, I mean, they had a slow start. Their offense was a disaster to start the season, and then they got better as the season went along. I mean, they're great in baseball this year, even though they lost. Although LSU is your daddy, though. But Coastal Carolina, the best thing about them this year, their free concessions were awesome. Yeah, but let's see. They beat Charleston Southern by 13-0. What a weird game. Yeah, their offense was a mess. And then they got shut out by Eastern Carolina the very next game. They shut out a team, and then they got shut out. Yeah, but the offense definitely improved as the season went on. They were inconsistent at points, but their offense got much better. So yeah, there's that. But they're inconsistent. But I mean, yeah. But Coastal Carolina, 6-6, they fired. Who's the coach they fired? Did they hire someone new? Tim Beck. So they fired, but yeah. Yeah, but Coastal's kind of felt lost in 2021. But yeah, there's that. They had that teal field, but free concessions, bro. That's awesome. Yeah. But I think they'll take on Delaware, which shout out to them as well. 6-6 in their first year in the FBS. That's actually not bad at all. They also beat UConn earlier this season. That's a great UConn team too. Although when it comes to overtime, they don't do very good. Yeah. They're the opposite of Virginia. But yeah, Delaware's been a good team this year, man. Or at least for their first year in the FBS. And it's cool to see him in the bowl game. It's Joe Flacco's old school, by the way. So yeah, that'd be cool to see him. Yeah. I think that'd be a good game. Yeah. But Delaware for the first year in the FBS, they've been decent. Yeah. They've been good for their first year in the FBS. Yeah. Old Dominion versus Kennesaw State. I think the one will be. I just read it. Okay. Anyways, Old Dominion, they've been a good team this year. They're 9-3. They had that 2-game stretch where they lost to Marshall and JMU, which kind of ended their playoff chances. But I mean, they didn't do too bad against Indiana. They only lost them by 13 points, considering who Indiana's beat this year. Yeah. There's that. They also beat up Virginia Tech this year in the Brent Prize coaching career at Virginia Tech. But yeah. There's that. But they've been a good team this year. Definitely bounced back from last year. They're taking on Kennesaw. I think they'll play Kennesaw State. What a turnaround it was for Kennesaw State this year. They're one of the worst teams in the FBS last year. Now they're and then they turned out to be a 9-3 team with the conference championship appearance. That's insane, but like good for Kennesaw State, man. The New Orleans Bowl usually features the best group of five, some of the best group of five teams. But yeah, what a season for Kennesaw. What a season was for Kennesaw State. Yeah, it's not be a good game. Now I got the Los Angeles Bowl. You got Cal versus New Mexico. California, they actually had a better season than last year, but they fired their coach. They fired don't know his name. Justin Wilcox. Yeah, Cal was kind of mid this year. I mean, they lost to San Diego State. You got shut by San Diego State, of course, earlier this season. They're taking on a team that beat San Diego State. Yeah, actually scored points in it too. But yeah, I think Cal, they've definitely gotten better as the season going on, but like they beat Louisville and SMU, but yeah, they've been mid as they usually. They're decent, I guess, but yeah, they've been inconsistent. Yeah, they also beat Minnesota earlier this year. So there's that, and I'll take the play New Mexico in the bowl game. Mexico's been really good. It's actually been a really good team this year. They beat the crap out of UCLA, and they've been one of the best teams in the Mountain West this year. So definitely turn around from last year. Yeah, but New Mexico, they've been a great team this year. I think them playing Cal will be a good game. Yeah. Moving on at the Boca Raton Bowl, Southern Miss versus Western Kentucky. Southern Miss, man, what a turnaround was. They were 1-11 last year. And since Charles Huff came in, they're 7-5, which was a big improvement for them. That's for sure. Yeah, just awesome to see the turnaround there. Yeah, I think they'll take on Western Kentucky, which didn't they lose to Jacksonville State? Western Kentucky's been a good team this year, though, I will say. Like, they gave LSU a run. They almost beat LSU. Granted, LSU does not have a very good offense, but still. That's still something to watch out for. That's still something to talk about. Or that's still something that's significant in this. Yeah. Yeah, their losses this year were to Toledo. You got beat up by Toledo. And then who else did they lose to? FIU. They're inconsistent too. They're like NC State in the CUSA. They also lost to LSU and Jacksonville State, but they're still a good team this year. What's the coach's name? Shoot, what's his name? Tyson Helton. He's a good coach, especially for the Group of 5 level. And I think West Kentucky. I mean, if they would have beat LSU, who knows what would have happened? Yeah, but they've been a good team this year, man. I'll tell you what. I think they'll themselves a miss bigger game. Yeah. Frisco Bowl. I have Troy, Hawaii. Troy's been a good team this year. They're playing for the Sun Belt Championship. They can upset JMU. I mean, never say never. They could. I don't think they make the playoffs, but yeah, there's that. And they're taking. I think they'll beat. I don't know if they'll beat them or not, but I think they'll take on Hawaii. Hawaii's turned around this year. They were 5-7 last year. Not 8-4 this. Now they're 8-4 this year. They had a great start to the season when they beat Stanford in week 0. Yeah, Stanford wasn't very good this year, but yeah, they've been good this year. Like I had some losses down the stretch. They've been a good team this year, man. I'll tell you what. Definitely improvements from seasons past. But yeah, but when was the last time Hawaii made a bowl game? Of course, they had the 2007 run where they played Georgia in the bowl game. '2020 was the last time they played a bowl game. That's insane. They defeated Houston. Okay, granted, Houston was a Group of 5 team at the time, but still. Wow, it's been half a decade since they played a bowl game. Why is the Hawk Tua or Hawk Tua? Why? Why is that one of the things on my searches? Not search history, my search suggestions. Let's see. Yeah. They've been good this year, man. Tell you what. Of course, they beat up Hawaii Yeah, they beat up San Diego State. So that put San Diego State out of playoff contention pretty much. But yeah, but Hawaii they've been a good team this year, man. Tell you what, I think I think that team will be. I think that team's set up for success. That's for sure. Yeah, it's just lots of good stuff for them this year, considering what's been the last few years. But yeah. Now I had the Salute to Veterans Bowl. I think, which I believe was the Camellia Bowl the last few years. Yeah, that's renamed from the Camellia Bowl. I have Miami, Ohio, and Louisiana playing each other. Miami, Ohio. Oh my God, it's dropping everything. Slow start, but then made the MAC championships. Yeah, I think they'll play in the Salute the Veterans Bowl. I think that they've been a decent team this year. They're usually decent, but yeah, but usually around that 8-4, 7-5 mark. So usually where Texas A&M is, but yeah, but there's that. But I think they'll probably lose the MAC championships. I think they'll end up with Louisiana bowl games. I think Louisiana on the other hand, not as good as they were last few years for that matter. But I mean, yeah, but yeah, I think they'll still they could still be decent in the bowl game. But yeah, there's that. Yeah. Moving on. Texas Bowl. The one of the ones I predicted correctly last year. So weird. What was Missouri versus Houston. Missouri, they've been good this year. They kind of fell down the stretch due to injuries, but like Ahmad Harrison really good, and I know they lost some players from last year, but they're pretty good still considering the circumstances. Yeah, but of course they beat their longtime rival Kansas to start the year. Obviously in week 2. Yeah, they also started the whole year at home basically for most of the year. It's the first few games. Yeah, the first 6 or 7 games. Sorry. But yeah, I think. Yeah, but I mean they've been good this year. I mean they lost who they lose? They lost to Oklahoma, Texas A&M, Alabama, and they almost beat Alabama. So they almost beat Alabama this time. So yeah, they actually scored points on them too. Who was the other team they lost to? Vanderbilt was the other team they lost to. Yeah, I think they'll play Houston. Houston's been a good team this year. Better than what they were last year, that's for sure. They really put themselves on the map. When they beat, I believe it was Arizona State. They beat. Yeah, they beat Arizona State, and they put themselves on the map because they lost to Texas Tech before. Texas Tech's really dang good this year. Yeah, and then they kind of let's see. What if they lose to? I know. Let's see, at the beginning of the season, they lost to BYU. That was actually not terrible. Actually, no, that was last year. Sorry. What else did they lose to? They almost lost to Oregon State, but that was earlier in the season. Yeah, Oregon State was not very good this year, obviously. One of the worst teams in the FBS. To beat Arizona and Arizona State before everyone realized how good they were. They lost West Virginia. That's who it was. And then they beat UCF, and then they lost to TCU. So I mean, they're still pretty good. They kind of fell down the stretch, but still, they're a good team this year. Sharing what they were last year, much better. I mean, it's kind of a de facto home game for them, but still, I think that'll be a good game. Yeah, there's that. Citrus Bowl. I have Vanderbilt, Michigan. Vanderbilt, I think they deserve to make the playoffs, but I don't think they're making it. Diego Pavia has been incredible this year. I mean, you had that one dude flip from Georgia to Vanderbilt, which welcome to 2025. What's his name? Vanderbilt, not Vanderpump. What the frick is a Vanderpump? Vanderbilt. I'm gonna put Vandergrift High School, which that's a high school in Texas. That has a really good football team in Munchie, man. is Jared Curtis, flipping from Georgia to Vanderbilt. Welcome to 2025. Clark Lee's for sure brought that program to actual relevance. They're actually a really good team this year. Yeah. Their 2 losses are to Alabama and Texas, but Vanderbilt's been a great team this year. What a story! What a story it's been in college football. Yeah. And of course, Clark Lee got extended for 6 years, I think. But man, it's just been incredible. Diego Pavia's man has also been balling too, and Eli Stivers as well. Yeah, I'm surprised they were so slept on to start the season. Yeah, I think they'll beat. I don't know if they'll beat. Why do I keep saying they'll beat? Because these aren't even my predictions. Well, like on who's winning. These aren't predictions on who I think is going to play, not who I think is going to win. I think they'll play Michigan. Michigan's in a good team this year. I mean, they lost to USC, Oklahoma, and Ohio State, but they've been good for the most part. They beat Washington. I mean, Bryce Underwood was her starter, and he was a true freshman. That's pretty incredible how good they did. Yeah, I think they'll play in the Citrus Bowl, Vanderbilt. That'd be a good game. I feel confident that these two will play each other. Yeah, there's that. Now I got the Sun Bowl, which this one's on CBS, by the way. I have Washington State and Boise State playing. I couldn't really find an ACC team to fill this, so I figured let's go with Boise State at this point. Washington's. This will actually be a future Pac-12 matchup soon. Washington State. I mean, they've been a very weird team. I mean, they're 6-6. They're not that good. I mean. And they beat Oregon State and they lost Oregon. Yeah, but there's that. They beat they've been 6 like they had a very weird start to this. Like they beat San Diego State. They could beat decent teams. And they also got crushed on North Texas and Washington State. And they beat Colorado State, and then they barely lost to Ole Miss. Barely lost to Virginia. Granted, every Virginia game was close this year. Like, and they beat Toledo, lost to Oregon State, beat Louisiana Tech, and the Falcons score 20-3. Lost to James Madison in a close game, and then they beat up Oregon State. So yes, Washington State, Oregon State played twice this year. Welcome to the Pac-12. Yeah, there's that. But, great ball, wrong page. Yeah, but I think that'd be a good match. Boise State, I think they'll play Boise State. Boise State, I mean, they're definitely not as good as they were last year. Still a pretty good team. They're still a decent team though. They lost granted I believe 2 or 3 of their losses out of conference. I think it's 2 of them. Yeah. Oh, by the way, I forgot to mention, we beat UCLA as well earlier this season. Yeah, I forgot to mention that on that preview. Yeah. Yeah. What am I looking for? Oh. Boise State. Yeah, 6-2 in conference. Okay, who did they lose to in conference? I know they lost to South Florida. They lost to South Florida and Notre Dame. Who did they lose to? San Diego State. They got beat up at Fresno State. Yeah, they've been inconsistent. They beat Boise State and Utah State and all that. Yeah, they beat some decent teams this year. Yeah, Boise State definitely not as good as they were last year, but still a pretty decent team. I think that'd be a good game. Yeah, Sutton Bowl. Yeah. Rely Quest. I think Texas and Iowa play each other. Iowa's actually ranked despite having 4 losses. Yeah. Texas, I know they're in the playoff conversation. They're not making the playoffs. It's not happening. Texas, though, I mean, they were number 1 seed, and then they're number 1 start the season, then they went 9-3, which, I mean, still a good season, but like if you're number 1 in the nation, then kind of a disappointment. Yeah. But Texas, they've been a weird team this year. They could be 7-5, I'm just saying. But yeah, there's that. But they beat their biggest rivals, Oklahoma, Texas A&M, and Arkansas. Yeah, but they also lost to Ohio State, Georgia, and Florida, and then newly lost to Kentucky and Mississippi State. Yeah, But they've been a good team this year. And I think they'll take it Iowa. And Iowa's been good. I mean, they kind of fell off at points this year, but they've been good this year. Kirk Ferentz has been very consistent there, and he's a great coach. But yeah, even if defense, although their offense, or even if their offense, I think their offense actually been getting better the last few years. But yeah, there's that. Anyways, their offense is inconsistent. Yeah, Music City Bowl. I haven't really seen many people predict this one. I have LSU versus like this matchup. I have LSU playing Penn State. Here's why I have these two teams playing. Disappointment, who's ranked in the preseason top 10, who fired their high caliber coach, versus second versus disappointed after being ranked second in the nation, who also fired their high caliber coach. I think this makes sense to be a matchup. This could have been a playoff matchup. Also, Jack likes Penn State. He also likes A&M, but he likes Penn State too. That was his favorite team for a while. I don't know if it's his favorite team still, but yeah. But LSU just. I'm an LSU fan. Offense was a disaster this year. That's why we were so bad this year. Plus, our defense was actually really, really good this year. Besides that Vanderbilt and A&M game, but yeah. But LSU, their offense was a mess this year. That's why they didn't win more than 7 games this year. So like that's how I lost to Oklahoma because their offense couldn't freaking play. Lost to Alabama like that because you can't score in the red zone. And we also lost to Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt, granted, our defense wasn't great, and same thing with A&M. Yeah, and then Ole Miss as well. We lost because of the bad offense. But yeah, I feel for Nussmeier, man. I mean, Garrett Nussmeier, he was a preseason Heisman favorite, one of them at least. And then it's not even his fault. The injury he had just completely took him down. But watching that senior night thing just kind of made me sad for Garrett, bro. He had so much potential. It's not even his fault. He waited all that time. Then he had one year. So my mom was texting me news about Neil Brown getting hired at North Texas. That's a good hire. I think Neil Brown should put in the group of 5. He'll thrive. But yeah, we saw what he did at Troy. But yeah, but I didn't even think about Neil Brown honestly. Yeah, sorry I've done coaching projections. Just all of the stuff happens at once. But yeah. Yeah, there's that. But LSU though, just kind of disappointment. Yeah, and Michael Van Buren's inconsistent. Yeah, he's potential. It's just he makes bad decisions sometimes. If we didn't throw that pick into Oklahoma, we would have won that game potentially. Yeah. So Texas is really mad at us. And Penn State, on the other hand, I'm kind of surprised they're bowl eligible. But yeah, Penn State they were not very good. They lost 3 games in a row to Oregon, UCLA, and Northwestern, and then the fired James Franklin. They lost a bunch of games after that too. But Penn State though definitely a disappointment for this year. Yeah, and LSU is also a disappointment. So 2 disappointments going up against each other. What would have been a high caliber match does not look like one. I think they'll play in the Music City Bowl. But I think that'll be a decent game. Although let's be low scoring if LSU can't score a damn point. Sorry, but it's just their offense is so terrible. And at the end, and we're almost to the end. At the end, ow! I have the. Sorry, I farted and it felt weird. Actually, it felt good. Normal fart. It is Independence Bowl. God dang! No, I'm burping, bro. In the Independence Bowl, I have Arizona State and UConn. I'm sorry. I can't stop laughing for some reason. Just a part that I burp. Arizona State, I mean, they're still pretty good. They fell off a little bit from last year. But yeah, but to be fair, the injury of Sam Levitt did not help. But yeah. But they're still pretty good this year. 8-4, I mean, considering the Big 12, it's not too bad. But yeah. Arizona State, they've been pretty good this year. They're the one team that's beat Texas Tech all years. Yeah. There's that there. But Yeah, but I think they're still a pretty good team. I mean, what is it? Consider what Arizona State was a few years ago. What a comeback! I mean, Kenny Dillingham's a really good coach. I think. Cool. I think Arizona State is. Well, Sam Levitt comes back. I think is Sam Levitt come back next year. I don't know. Yeah, but Arizona State, they're still a pretty good team this year. Yeah, not as good as last year, but still. I mean, of course, they had that weird loss Mississippi State, but yeah. But besides that, they've been a good team. Yeah, for the most part. Yeah, they're taking on UConn. UConn. I mean, they've been great this year, unless they're in overtime. But they beat Duke and Boston College. They almost beat Syracuse. They could be 12-0 if they would have beat Syracuse, Delaware, and Rice. All in overtime. Yeah, it's a weird set of teams to lose to, but still, those are the only teams you lose to. Yeah, because considering Syracuse was trash this year after Steven Jolly just went bye. Delaware was just brand new to the FBS. Which I mean they're decent for their first year in FBS. And then Rice, which that's kind of random. Yeah, but there's of course the coach. I think his name is. Who's the coach of? Who's the new coach of Colorado State? Jim Moore. Yeah, he's been a great coach for them. Yeah, but UConn though, hey, they've been a great team this year. And as long as this game doesn't go to overtime, they might win this game. So, yeah. Then the last not least, actually we had two more. The Bahamas. This one's a weird one because it's not being played in Nassau this year because the stadium's under renovation. But apparently it's being moved somewhere else. I don't know. It's a weird situation, but I'm pretty sure this game's gonna be played. But yeah, it's just because I don't know. Yeah, but I think it's just because they let Delaware and Missouri State play bowl game, which makes sense. Yeah. But I have FIU and Texas State. I know it's CUSA versus MAC. I'm going to deviate a little bit here. Because this is the bowl game I was missing because it said it wasn't on CBS Sports. But yeah. But I have FIU and Texas State playing. FIU's been a good team this year, man. Better last year. They're inconsistent. Like what was it? Like they beat Bethune-Cookman, they lost to Penn State, beat FAU, got crushed by Delaware, got crushed by UConn. They crushed then they crushed Western Kentucky, got beat up by Kansas State, then lost to Missouri State by a touchdown. And then they beat up Middle Tennessee State, beat Liberty in a close game. They beat Jacksonville State in a close game, then they beat up Sam Houston. They got better season went along. Definitely a better season for FIU this year. I mean, they've actually been pretty good this year. So yeah, credit to them for at least getting better this year. But yeah, I think FIU. I mean, they could be. I think they could be competitive in this game. Yeah, but I think on Texas State, I thought Texas State would be a much better team this year. I mean, they weren't bad, but like 6-6 ain't great. And Texas State, of course, is going to the Pac-12 next year because like they're 6-6. I thought they'd be one of those teams that could contend for the playoffs. Yeah, or contend for the Sun Belt at least. Yeah. Yeah, good start. I mean, they beat Eastern Michigan and they beat UTSA in the close game. And then they lost Arizona State, beat Nichols. It's Nichols, though. And they lost. I'm an LSU fan. They gave us a close game in the first half. And then they lost to Arkansas State at one point, lost to Troy in overtime, lost to Marshall in overtime, got beat by James Madison, lost to Louisiana in a close game, beat up Southern Miss, beat Louisiana Monroe, and beat Southwest. They lost a lot of close games this year. But yeah, but I think Texas State could be competitive in this game. So yeah. And for a little bonus, let's do the Celebration Bowl. I'm pretty sure South Carolina State's already locked into this game, but this is basically predicting who's going to win this SWAC. I think Jackson State will beat Alabama State. I think this will be the Celebration Bowl. I don't watch my. I believe this is the same exact matchup from last year. So yeah, that one's put in Atlanta. So yeah, that's another. Yeah, there's that. Sorry. Yeah. Anyways, I was thinking something else, but anyways. Yeah, I think that'll be Celebration Bowl. Anyways, here are my bowl projections. Yeah. Yeah, there's that. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Please like and subscribe. Have a nice day. Goodbye. See you next one. Peace.